Mandate.
What's up, family? Welcome to another episode of Mandate. My name is Charles, and this is my co-host, Bettia Wilson, aka Mad Messenger. And this platform is about having open talanoa around certain issues pertaining to our people, and in particular to our men. But as a show, we like to explore ways where we can refine who we are as people, unlock our true potential, and take charge of our lives so we can be the best versions of ourselves. And today we have an awesome guest, and I'm going to give it over to my uso to introduce him.
Oh, awesome, man. Thank you, Charles. Hey, I'm really excited for this tonight's interview with our special guest. And so our special guest, he was born and raised in Grey Lynn, Central Tamaki Makaurau in Auckland. Yep, give it up for Grey Lynn. He was educated at the prestigious high school where they kind of, all the best rugby league players come from, St. Paul's College. Of course, academically as well. Academics and sports. St. Paul's College. But he also professes to be a proud Christian. A proud Christian. He's married to his lovely wife, Utu, with their 3 daughters. And he's, having played league professionally for 15 years, is now based in Brisbane in Australia, and working for the NRL in the wellbeing education space as the NRL programs manager. He also loves Jordans, Jordan 3s, Hansan Vietnamese, sounds like someone familiar that I know who loves that as well. But also 90s, he's a big fan of the 90s R&B. But also noteworthy achievements, just in case you don't know who he is, but if you don't know who he is, you must be sleeping or living under a rock. Noteworthy achievements, he played for the Sydney City Roosters. He debuted in 1999. Also played for the mighty Toa Samoa. Yes, get up for the Toa Samoa, the Rugby World Cup in 2000, also 2008. Also played for one of my favorite teams, the Eels, the Parramatta Eels in 2001. Also from transitioning from the NRL to Super League, he played for Wakefield Trinity Wildcats. Also had a stint at Bradford Bulls. And I believe he finished off in Warrington with the Warrington Wolves. And so, my friends, give it up, make some noise for the man himself, David, also known as David Solomona.
Thank you.
Insert this where they insert the So shout also, welcome to Mandate. Thank you for being here, brother. Awesome to have someone of your caliber on our show also. And I know there was a lot written about you in terms of your bio, but would you like to introduce to our viewers who is Vix or Vika?
Yeah, man. I thought pretty much captured everything in that little bio there. But yeah, like it said, New Zealand born Samoan, raised in Grey Lynn, family very fortunate, raised with my dad's family, the Solomona family in Grey Lynn, and raised with my grandmother, my grandfather, 3 or 4 of my dad's siblings, their kids, and my brothers in that. So big family. Had a couple of houses right next to each other. So I'm a proud Aucklander, proud Samoan. And really fortunate to had a sporting career, but I'm now working for the NRL, and just trying to do my best in that space, working with players outside of sport. But like you guys said, I'm very happily married with 3 daughters, and living here in Brisbane, Australia at the moment.
Awesome. Look forward to sort of diving into the work that you do and sort of highlighting this area around well-being, especially for Pacifica young players coming through. But I got a few rapid fire questions, and straight off the bat also, and I'm gonna just quickly throw them out, and whatever comes to mind, just shoot them. Shoot your shot. So, yeah, cool. League or union?
Union. I'm a union man.
You're a union man.
I am a union man, 100%. I'm Auckland. Auckland Rugby's my favorite team, man.
Yeah, man. One.
Man, I brought up 5 minutes from Eden Park, so I'm a rugby man.
Cool.
While we're on there, how do you think RTS is gonna do?
Gangster, he's the man. There's like these dudes that are just born to be stars. That dude's a star, bro. He's the man. I hope he carves.
Queensland or New South Wales?
In your mouth, New South.
Let's end the interview now.
Current champs.
To the Premier of Queensland, please get this guy out of Queensland. He shouldn't be residing there.
We're in the midst of a legacy right now.
Yes.
Wait until you get to 3 and then we'll start talking. What's your favorite drink?
Man, so like a bit of lemon lime butters, maybe. I don't know. I'm just a straight flat white coffee dude as well. So
nice. When are you most productive?
Probably lunchtime. Yeah, I'm not the greatest in the morning and not the greatest at night. Yeah, I'm an early sleeper as well. So yeah, probably lunchtime. Catch me lunchtime before I start dozing off at 2:00.
Who is your inspiration and why?
My dad. Yeah, just grew up around a hardworking man who was God focused and set good examples for me and my siblings.
Summer or winter?
Winter. Yeah, I hate the heat. That's why I'm gutted I live in Australia and I wish I was home in New Zealand at Christmas.
What's something new that's happening in your life right now?
Growing a beard. Yes. So yeah, I've been eating a lot, so just covering the double chins.
Suits. What's your favorite number and why?
Favorite number? I don't even know if I have one. 20. That's the number of my house. Grew up in.
How do you start your day?
I get up. Man, I have consistently read my word first thing in the morning, and I walk. So my wife runs. We get up at the same time. She runs and I walk. So try and go for about an hour walk every morning.
Yep. Wow. When you were at St. Paul's, what was the worst subject?
Maths.
What was your favorite?
Probably English. Yeah.
Hey.
Yeah. We had so many subjects to choose from at that school, man. It was ridiculous, man. We were just chemistry, statistics. Man, the list goes on.
Okay. What advice would you give your younger self?
That's a good question. Probably take your time and be smart with your money.
What scares you?
My mom. My mom and my grandmother, man. Yep.
When the borders open, which country you heading first?
New Zealand.
Yep.
New Zealand. Yeah, I miss home.
When you do come back home, what's the go-to takeaway?
Man, there's Busy Oven Bakery just around the corner from St. Paul's. I love Hansan. Oh, I said it. I love a bit of Hansan. And we love driving up to Pokeno to get some ice cream as well. Mm-hmm. But man, how many places in New Zealand can you name, man? Like that's why I miss home, man. Like everywhere. I miss eating everywhere at home. I'm a Wendy's dude. Yeah. I'm a Wendy's dude. So I love Wendy's.
When you go Wendy's, what's the combo?
Big Bacon Classic normally. But man, I see they start doing meal deals over there. Dangerous.
Get all of it.
Family facts. Crazy. Yep.
What's something you do not like doing?
Running. Yeah. Running or I would say I don't like exercising, but I love the feeling of when you're finished exercising. Yep.
What's something you enjoy doing?
Spending time with my family. Yeah, just hanging out. Man, sounds pretty cheesy and cliche, but I love hanging with my kids, man. I love seeing them laugh and enjoy each other. And I probably most of all, I love starting fights between them. So like one of my all-time favorite things is like telling one thing and then another, and then just watching it explode, and then telling my wife, you need to give someone a smack right now. No, we don't smack our kids though, man. We just talk to them. Yeah.
That's the one.
That's the one.
What is success for you?
Having a goal and achieving it.
Nice. Tell me the nickname among your day ones.
Probably Sweet Cheeks.
Nice.
They call me
Sweet Cheeks. All right.
Because it rhymes with Veeks, so they go Veeks with the Sweet Cheeks. So,
what's the nickname your wife gives you?
Like babes,
Hey.
or handsome, gorgeous, yummy.
Yummy. Hey.
Yeah.
What's your favorite childhood memory?
Just playing with my brothers and my cousins in the backyard of my house. Yeah, playing on the grass, and then my family concreted it, and then playing on the concrete, playing footy on the concrete, and telling everyone you're not allowed to cry. But yeah, that's one of my favorite memories growing up.
Biggest pet peeve?
People being late.
I apologize for coming late.
No, you're on time. You're on time.
When are you the happiest?
And yeah, probably when I'm with my family. Yeah, with my wife, my kids, my parents, my siblings, or when I'm with people I love and they're happy, man. So, yeah.
Nearly done also. Fill in the blank. Vulnerability is?
Normal. Yeah, it's special. Yeah. Vulnerability is something to be celebrated.
Love that. Men need to
talk more, be vulnerable.
Wives need to
keep being who they're meant to be, man. Like, yeah, if you're meant to be the supporter, be the supporter. If you're meant to be the leader, lead, you know. Yep.
Wow, great answer.
My wife might be listening to this. Wives, be the best, man. You are the best.
That's the one. Something that people often get wrong about you.
That I'm skinny. that I played sport and I'm like supposed to be skinny for the rest of my life. So shivers. You're bigger than I thought you were. So yeah.
Last show that you binged on.
I just watched it's called The Raincoat Killer. It's like a Netflix new doc that came out about some Korean serial killer. Yeah, I don't know. I just watched it yesterday.
Me?
It's all right. Yeah, I'm a bit of a crime dude. So yeah.
And last question: what are you deeply grateful for right this minute?
Deeply grateful for my wife and my kids. Yeah.
Man. Yep. Sure, also. Some amazing answers. Thanks, bro. It gave us a good insight of who you are, and there's some questions I really want to go back to and sort of flesh it out. But yeah, thanks.
That's one of those. Did I pass?
So you passed. You nearly folded on the wives, right? You nearly folded, but you got through also.
Never fold, they say.
You just failed on that one question, and that was the state of origin one. But it's okay. It's okay. You played for Toa Samoa. Now that's cool.
Sorry for you, man. It's going to be a sad next 10 years for you also.
You got a burning question?
Yeah, no, awesome, Dave. Yeah, thanks for the rapid fire, Charles. Sorry, David, just because I want to get back to your league days, and I know you. I kind of remember. I remember you playing in your league days. I remember as a fan of your style, your silky hands and your steps, and And for big guy, and I'm just being honest, for big guy, you're just quite quick as well. And so I remember you, especially when you're playing for Parramatta, one of my favorite teams. But as you know, as you're retired now. But what do you think in terms of, because you're in the NRL right now, in terms of the education program? What are you seeing? What kind of seems to be the reoccurring theme in terms of our young men in the clubs or in the NRL now, or more so our Pacific boys? What do you see, Vix? Is there anything that we should be alarmed or concerned about, or is it just?
I think some of the issues that pretty obvious at the moment around guys and identity and really feeling comfortable with being themselves, their authentic self, pretty much. And I think that's a common thread that's been around with footy players for a long time. It's almost like you've come into this bubble when you're in the NRL, and I've seen it for a long time, being in it myself and exiting it, and then working for the NRL now. You see players almost have this false sense of what life is, and I think a lot of boys, in particular, come from New Zealand and travel over to Australia. There's this expectation of you to be something that you probably weren't always meant to be. Like they come over here and I wouldn't say they change, but it's almost like you move here and you might not be a guy who drinks, or you might not be a guy who does certain things, but because you think that that's what everyone else does, you come in and you start doing it. And I think identity across the board for a lot of players is something that they deal with while they're playing, and definitely something that guys deal with post-football. So when they leave, actually tying their whole identity into being a footballer, and because they've done that throughout their career, the ability to actually let go of that when they leave the game is something that they really struggle with. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Yeah, that's cool, man. Because I can imagine, like a lot of, like you're saying, Vix, because that a lot of our boys who kind of go from here at young age, at a very young age, go to Australia and play with Kibra and all that kind of stuff. And I totally understand what you're talking about in terms of identity. Do you think, in terms of pressure, is that a lot of our poly boys feel the need to kind of simulate? Is it because they feel like this? Is the culture in the league in Australia, or is it just?
Yeah, I think you use like in regards to the word assimilate. Like a lot of them would come here and feel like, man, that's the best way to actually fit into the club. I mean, there's a whole heap of pressure for everyone that comes into the space, into this elite sporting space, and it's like a funnel, man. Like there's thousands of kids up here trying to get into these like 40, 30 spaces every year that are made available at NRL clubs, and they're all trying to fit into this one little group. And I guess for a lot of guys, it can become too much. And I see a lot of island boys struggle with it, man. And there's a lot of, I personally feel there's a lot of added pressure for our PI boys in the space. We like, for me, I didn't grow up in a house with my mum, dad, and my brothers. I literally grew up in a house with like 20, 30 people. And when I went to Australia, I could feel the pressure of understanding that, man, I carry a lot of, where I've come from and who I'm representing here with me. And over my time living in Sydney, I saw a lot of our boys come there and struggle with the expectation of trying to make it. And I see that now. I see that. It's way more obvious and way more common now within the game. Like when I moved to Australia, man, there might have been, under the age of 20, there might have been 3 guys that moved to Australia. Now you get 10 guys at one school in Queensland. You know what I mean? Yeah, I'd love to know the numbers, because I don't have the numbers in regards to schooling. We don't have numbers across that, but we're talking hundreds of kids from New Zealand traveling over here, and hundreds of Māori PI kids moving here, and some of them moving their families here. And I can understand the pressure that they must face, realizing, like, I made mum and dad come here, I made mum and dad leave their job. They've left their support system. They've come here for me, for my sport. So that pressure, I think that pressure is hard to deal with on top of the pressure of just trying to make it within the space. Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy.
So much expectation for a young poly boy to carry, eh? Expectation to provide, and expectation to live up to the expectation.
Yeah, man, it's funny. I always tell a story, like when I was at the Roosters, like man, one of the first things I learned to do was go to the bank and organize a direct debit to send money home. You know what I mean? Like my first full year there, I lived with my auntie. Like they got me a house, which was literally 5 minutes from training, and I couldn't live there. I ended up moving. I rocked up to my auntie's house. I said, "Can I live with you?" And I ended up living with her, and it was like, man, over an hour and a half away. I would have to catch 2 buses and walk to training when I was at the Roosters, and I couldn't even afford a car. Like I was catching the bus. Like in between training, I was hanging with my mate Ty Severe, and me and Ty he'd meet me in town, and we would just walk around the city for like 4 or 5 hours until training started. Then he'd catch a train back to Balmain, and I'd catch a train back to the eastern suburbs, and we'd go and train in the afternoon. We'll do that, and like, man, I was building up enough money to actually probably buy a cheap car. But, for me, I was thinking, I'm living with my auntie, I can send money back home. And I think, like, again, that was the difference between probably some of our poly boys they're thinking a bit different from the other guys. And to have that on top of the expectation of trying to, compete in that environment is hard. And I know this still happening today for a lot of our boys. There's this pressure, this added pressure, and it's good and it's bad, but yeah, it's still there.
Wow, man.
Wow. So in terms of your role as well-being coach or mentor?
No. So yeah, I work in a department called Wellbeing Education. So essentially the department I work in, we just work with players outside of the game. So like anything to do outside of rugby. So we don't have anything to do with training or games or that. So every single NRL club has a minimum of 2 people that work in that space. One is a wellbeing manager. The other one is a career coach. And so every NRL club has that. And then from the actual central department, so from the NRL, there's 6 or 7 of us that have specialized roles. So we have like a career coach. We have someone that works in VET, so people doing trades. We have someone that works with, development players. And my role is programs manager, and then I run some of the Pacifica stuff. So in the process of trying to create, a few little projects at the moment that hopefully will help our PI boys in the game.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy. Vika, because you didn't want to go back, Vika, because then you were saying the pressures and the same pressures that you had. And you kind of went into the NRL, and you see some of the young fellas right now kind of go through that pressure. But I just wanted to ask him, how did you deal with it? Because I think a lot of the guys who've been maybe watching this and listening, like, how did you overcome all that stuff, the pressure and all that, and all the chaos that may have been happening in your mind? You're like, how do I manage all of this? What was the one thing that kind of grounded you? Like, man, I gotta keep going.
Yeah, man, I can definitely say my faith, and I can definitely say my family. But in regards to how did I deal with it, I didn't deal with it too great, to be honest. I moved over there 3 months after moving over there. I moved into a house with my auntie, and then I moved into a house with a friend, Ty Severe. We went to Lasau, and then we went home, and Ty passed away, and I struggled with it. When I came back to Australia, I probably because it wasn't something that anyone talked about, but I probably did go through a bit of depression when it happened. And it was pretty bad. Like what actually had to happen was my mum flew to Australia with my younger brother, pulled him out of primary school, and my mum moved and lived in Australia for 4 months, just to help me because when I first moved there, I couldn't sleep. I struggled trying to deal with it, and then I guess how did I deal with being over there? I think it was again just trying not to give up, but I think there's a little bit of everything. I was really fortunate. I had a really good family, really supportive, and I linked into a church, and was really lucky to have like a good support network at the church. But then there was also a bit of luck, and I see that now. Like there's, you just a bit of luck of just hanging in there and staying in there, and I was at the Roosters, and Phil Gould was the coach, and he was there for my first year and gave me a game, but he left the second year. And I think if he stayed, I might not have been at the club anymore. They brought in a new guy, Graham Murray, and he decided to get rid of all these older players and give all these young guys a go. And all the guys that I was playing with the year before in the reserve grade were like Anthony Minicello and Shannon Hegarty. They were all ended up being Origin players, but we all played reserve grade that 1 year. So, yeah, again, like it was a little bit of luck, like the fact that Gus left and then someone else came in, saved me a bit. But, the ability to kind of just hang in there and not give up and then have this, this supportive network, which I had. And I guess for me, I did have pressure, but I didn't have pressure. Like I had my own internal pressure from wanting to make it. But I can honestly say my mum and my dad, and they were always like, son, if it doesn't work out, that's all right. Just try your best. If you come home, you come home. My parents never said to me, you need to do this or you need to be that. Wow. I was really lucky, man. I had a family that was really supportive in that sense, man. And I guess I was lucky that I had my dad's brother. He played for the Warriors. He had a professional footy career. And I grew up in the same house as them. And I grew up in the same house as my little cousin Marlo, who played for the Warriors. So, and I've been really fortunate to be in and around a lot of people who've been successful in the game. And I think because of that, my family has seen that there's more to life than just trying to crack it in footy. You know what I mean? So, yeah, and in that sense, I was pretty lucky.
Wow.
Shucks, thanks for sharing that, Us.
Oh, good.
Shucks. Because I remember that time where Ty Savea passed away, and for anyone, it would have been tough to deal with like a death of a loved one. And when I asked you to fill in the blank and say vulnerability is, and you said should be normal, because growing up, and especially for men, and even now, it's not normal. Well, there's there's an expectation that men should just harden up, or there's a way we should be, and so just hearing your words, like in terms of it should be normal, men need to talk more. Are you able to sort of elaborate on the reason why?
Yeah, man. I guess when you remove any sense of vulnerability from yourself, and you don't really care about what anyone else thinks. You're not worried about the opinions of others, and you're not your life's not dictated by the thoughts and the comments of other people, man. You're happy to be like, this is who I am, and regardless of what you think, I'll put it out there, like, and I actually met up with a player. I won't say it is, but I met up with a pretty prominent player who's in transition, and he actually said that to me. He's a Origin player, and he said to me he's been in the media a lot about things that happened during his career, and he actually said to me, once I realized that I've got no worries about being vulnerable, it took a lot of that weight off my shoulder of worrying about what the media were going to write. I didn't care, I was happy to put it out there, and yeah, for me, this year I went through my own like little mental health issues for the first time ever in my life, and the ability to actually talk about it, the ability to actually realize that I went through it and speak about it. Man, I don't know. It's hard to explain, but there's a sense of freedom about actually telling someone like, man, I actually went through this, and I didn't care. I'm happy to tell you about this. And I feel like vulnerability is something that you can actually expose someone to, which actually allows them to remove their vulnerability. And it's almost like something that is almost like this superhuman power that you have, that you can actually pass on to someone else that's exposed to it. Yeah.
Wow, that's so cool. That's so true. Like you said, like what you said, I think when you find yourself being vulnerable, it kind of gives the other person the freedom to open up as well. Whereas you can imagine, like, the men and the boys kind of staunch, don't want to show any fictional expression of vulnerability. But when you like you were saying, when you're able to kind of share and be vulnerable, it gives the other person like, oh man, if he's vulnerable, it gives me the opportunity that I feel safe to be vulnerable as well.
It's funny. It's hard to even imagine like our parents. Like, wow, man, like I guarantee almost all of our dads are the same, man. It's hard to imagine a dad growing up in the 80s or the 90s and saying, son, it's all right to cry, like, son, it's all right. Let me give you a hug and I love you, like, man, there would have 100%, there would have been dads out there, but man, it wasn't common, man. It wasn't normal. Like in my own house, like my dad is I love you, hug you, love you, dad. Now, but growing up, like that was never. We never said I love you or hugged anyone until I moved away. It wasn't until I actually left home that my parents that I felt like the change, and that vulnerability. It's definitely something that's I see even with my own parents now, where my dad, able to say, yeah, I struggled with that or I didn't do that, and it made me feel comfortable to be like, if this dude can do it, I can do it. But just imagine if that was the case for all of us, what type of fathers we would be, and even just the way that our thinking was processed because of the way that our dads and that treated us. We probably had our own views on how to be vulnerable or that, and that's definitely changed for us now.
That's cool. Also, in terms of what you went through, how hard was it for you to reach out, or did you have someone that recognized it for you and then say, hey, you need to get some help, or was it easy for you to reach out?
Man, it's a weird one, eh? I work in the space, man. So, man, my job, a lot of it is me catching up with dudes, seeing how they're going, struggling. We do a lot of training around vicarious trauma and understanding, like, taking on other people's issues and being able to have a space where we can go and talk to people. How did I go about the process, man? My issue was pretty bad, man. Like I very hard to explain. I won't go into it too deep, but I had a breakdown. I was at home, it happened, and I got to the point where I ended up having to put myself in hospital, and I was really lucky. I had access to psychologists who were friends, and clinical psychs who I could call to ask. But the three main people I used was a psych that I used at work, the pastor that I have at church, and my dad, and they all gave me the same advice around making sure I take care of myself, making sure I see a professional, and make sure I prioritize myself and put myself in the right space. And I actually had to take quite a long time off work to deal with it. It's just for me, it was something that I didn't even see coming. And I think for a lot of us, it's we think that we can be busy and keep doing stuff, and it won't affect us. But for me, it was a pretty bad experience.
Sure. Also, thanks for sharing that. And it's because you're in the business of people and business of care, so a lot of the times pouring out of yourself, and I found myself. It's not about me, but today I found myself, because we're doing stuff where like real activist, so my mind's always thinking. And I was supposed to walk with someone today, and I ended up walking by myself. But my brain was still like just pacing. It was like still ticking, and I was going, hey. And then I end up. So the challenge that I'm on is supposed to be life walks with someone. And I end up feeling like God was telling me, no, I want you to have a conversation with me. And then in that walk, I had to slow down my brain to think about, okay, what is it that I need from you right now, Lord? Because in the space of care, it's easy to ask someone, how are you? How's things in your lives? You're always checking up on someone. And then I started thinking, if I'm having this conversation with God, I was like, I can't ask him, how are you? Because God is God. So it's like, oh, Lord, what is it that you need to reveal to me? So it took me like a whole hour just to sort of process sort of things until my mind was at peace. So, sorry, I didn't know if that's...
Good, bro. That's me. That's me. Yeah. I have that, Charles. Yeah, man, I I have those moments. Man, I'm a massive overthinker. I know that like one of the reasons why I got to where I got to is because, man, I'm one of those dudes. Like when I used to train, they would say, okay, you're gonna run this far in 2 minutes, and I'd be like, okay, in 30 seconds I need to run this far, and then I'll pick it. And then as I'm running, I'm like, okay, I've run 14, and I'm one of those dudes who's constantly thinking in my head, and I felt like it got to the place where when I actually went through what I went through, where I couldn't control it. Like it was just non-stop. Like my head was just non-stop. I couldn't control my thinking. And and over the course of 4 days, I had like 9 hours sleep, and I couldn't control the stuff that I was thinking about. And I think a lot of times what I found is being able to anchor that. Like for me, being able to anchor that in God, and actually for Him to be like, let me take control of what you're doing there. For me, it really centered me and was able to kind of like bring me back to like focus on something that I need to be focused on, as opposed to allowing my mind to kind of drift off. And man, I love that whole ability. Man, that's why I love walking in the morning. And I didn't listen to music. I listened to podcasts. I listened to people speaking, motivational speakers, and preachers preach. And I feel like that's my time to kind of get that centering back to anchoring stuff, what I'm doing. And I learned like from a book called The Crushing, I learned that, man, to do that early in the morning, like to actually, complete a task in the morning like that, the ability to actually connect with God is, for me, it's a good way to anchor that.
Wow, that's powerful also.
Oh.
That's cool. And so this experience sort of added value to the work you're doing in terms of recognizing it with the young players that you're working with.
Yeah, man, I'm not gonna lie. I've heard of people who work in my space who've gone through stuff, and I thought, man, how are you working in the space and you're dealing with your own stuff? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I guess like if a youth worker who's like got his own issues he's trying to deal with, and like, how are you trying to mentor this guy and you can't even deal with your own stuff? But what I found is, man, my pastor. So shout out to my pastor, Pastor Joshua. I had this thing on a Saturday, and I went and saw him on a Monday, early in the morning, and he gave me the best piece of advice. He actually said to me, "I promise you that you will look back, and you will realize that God has taken you through this in order for you to help someone else." And when he actually said that to me on that Monday, I can remember sitting in the chair in the sitting room, and I remember in my head thinking, why the hell would this disgusting thing that I'm going, like this darkness that I feel right now, why would I feel like this would help someone else? But man, honestly, when I tell you like that vulnerability thing, the ability to actually tell someone about it, and then for them to actually, talk about their stuff, it was so true, man. Like the ability to share what I went through, and then to give people the courage to actually say, man, I've gone through that. And then for me to actually feel like, man, I feel better, way better having told you that. And I feel way better you sharing that with me as well. That's, for me, that was the best piece of advice. Like, I think being able to go through it has helped me have a better understanding. And I say this to people at work, like my role essentially at work is to meet with players and work with them with life outside the game. But I generally would sit with a player, and if I sat with you and you said, I'm struggling, I'd like say, okay, this is the door. I need you to come to the store, and this is the door that you're going to get help. And then walk you to the door and let you go in. For me, I look at it now like I've gone through the door myself. I've been able to have a better understanding of what happens when you go through there, and then the stuff that happens after that, and then understanding that it's not just the shade in the door and catch you later. Sometimes it's a little bit of a check-in, or maybe a follow-up, or maybe just I'm keen to just have a chat, and let's create a space where you can actually feel comfortable to talk about it, even after it's happened.
Wow.
Awesome.
Yeah. Wow. Hey Vika, has there ever been a time when you've had to talk to one of the young fellas, and I'm just assuming, has there ever been a time where they've asked you and say, hey man, I'm not doing too well. In fact, I didn't even want to play league. It's not, we talked about the pressure of the family and the expectations. Has there been a time where a young person or young man has said to you, bro, I don't even want to play league. That's not even my dream. It's not even my goal. I'm just doing this for my family. Has it even been like, and if there was, what would be your advice to?
It was, man, I've had in the 7 or 8 years I've been around the space. I've had everything, man. I've had, I've had everything you could think a player wants to do, not want to do, or go through. You know, I'll tell you, sorry, in probably 2015, there was a young Samoan boy that came over here to play. Told his family he was here to play, and I was called by Nigel Wangana, who was working in this space, and he told me, "Oops, I need you to go and check on this boy." I was like, "Where is he?" And he's like, "Bro, he's living on the street outside a pub. Like he's living on the outside of a pub. Like he goes there at night time." So I went there, and I found out this young Samoan boy from back home had moved over here to play. I was too embarrassed to tell his family that he didn't want to play anymore. And so he just stopped talking to his family and was too ashamed to go back home to New Zealand. Wow. And, moments like that are heartbreaking, you know what I mean? And the best thing you can do is just try to support them. I can, for me, having people like Nige be able to almost mentor me in this space. And I mean, I can remember him saying, "Man, we'll pay for a hotel for a few days, man, until we sort something out." I guess for us in this space, I will say the one thing that helps is being a Christian. For me, understanding that everything is grounded in love, and for me, the truth is honestly, it's easy for me to say to some random dude like, "I love you," or "I care for you," or "I'm here for you," and genuinely mean it. And I think that's really important in this space. But yeah, I think when guys go through that stuff, it's really just a case of trying to be there for them, trying to support them, and trying to find best ways to try and get them to either go back home or talk to their family or find what works. And sometimes it's the fault of the game. The game didn't do the right thing, and sometimes it's there's other factors that are in play.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's some real. That's heartbreaking. Because I've heard stories like similar stories to the young person you're talking about. Especially like in even in the UK, you get a lot of Fijian players, rugby players who are stranded out there and can't play, or they've lost their contract or whatever, and they're out there and you're talking about a foreign country. You're like, man, how are these guys living? And then you think about this young fella you're talking about. You just can't really I'm just talking about the play of your mind and mentally, your mental health and all that kind of stuff. And so, and saying that, Vika, like you work alongside those young fellas. But how about that? What about your dealings with some of the older guys, like yourself, who have kind of
transitioned
transition and trying to figure out how to live life without playing the game, and a professional athlete, and it's like, man, how do I navigate in life now, transition in this? I'm not playing here, not traveling here and there. What was your experience?
Yeah, probably it's actually one of my favorite spaces to work in, the transition space. So every year there's a group of guys that retire. There's the way that we do it in the NRL is there's like 8 of us that work in the space. That 7 of them are contracted to the NRL. So former retired players like Jason Nightingale, Tim Manor, and we all get a selection of dudes that retire, and we look after them for a certain amount of time post footy. And for me, I didn't have that. They didn't have that in place when I finished from the game. Man, I can honestly say that only through the grace of God that I feel like I retired fine, because my identity wasn't wrapped up in footy. And I can honestly say that I can. And I was surrounded by a lot of guys who were exactly the same. These guys know Ali. I spent a lot of my time with Ali, Joe Ngalavao, Leslie Vanikolo, a lot of these boys, Motu Tony, a lot of those guys, they were footballers, but man, it just wasn't what defined them, and I felt like for myself personally, and I can't speak for those guys, but I know for myself personally, man, I didn't care no one knew who I was. You know what I mean? Like I still cringe a little bit when I get the intro and they talk about my footy stuff. Like, for me, I felt like I was happy to actually finish in the game. And that very, like, what I learned was to be really grateful for that season of my life, understand that season's over. And, you know, Ecclesiastes talks about, you know, seasons and the importance of like understanding that there is a season for this and a season for that. And for me, I was able to kind of be really grateful for that part of my life, but understand that that's just a part of my life. Like there's a new part, like, and I can't do everything that God needs me to do in this season if I'm still holding on to, you know, the season I've just come out to. So, when I talk about identity, that's probably off the back of what I do in that space and realizing that guys struggle because, you know, the amount of guys I know that still struggle because they still feel like they want to be acknowledged for stuff that they've done in the game, which some of them, you know, they've done really well in that, but it doesn't help you in this next phase. And I think having the right type of people around you have helped as well.
Wow. Nice.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
How important is it to have a tight-knit group? Having like do you operate in a way where you have an inner circle and you have your mates, and then, or you have like this tight group when you're going through something, they know how you tick and you go to them when things hit the fan?
Yeah, the truth is I'm very it's probably off the back of playing footy, and a lot of times when I was playing, I used to always be like, this dude just friends with me because I'm playing footy. So I was always like worried about trying to be friends. I remember when I first come to Hazana and Bana and G told me that, my leaders in my ministry, they were like, you need to go out and connect with all these young adults. And I had just come out of playing footy and I was like, man, these guys are probably like, I don't want to talk to you. So I was not used to actually just putting myself out there. And I feel like a lot of that's obviously changed. Like I didn't even worry about that stuff now. But for me, when I played and when I transitioned out of the game, I kind of had just a small group of people that I trusted that I would talk to. It's funny, like here in Brisbane, Charles's younger brother Danny's, he's probably one of the people that I feel comfortable to actually talk to. And it's funny when I have gone through some real big personal stuff, he's actually one person that I've gone over to his house to kind of just chat to. And I think having people that you can actually feel comfortable to just be yourself is really important. So yeah, I have a pretty small group of people that I feel real comfortable with. A lot of that is not just myself. It's because, man, I'm yoked with someone, man. So I can't be having my own little groups as well. It's important for me and my wife to feel comfortable within the groups that we're in. So I found like it's really important for us to have people that we can actually feel comfortable with. I know that as a woman, she'll probably have certain people she'll want to gravitate towards, but even in those spaces, I feel it's really important for me to have people that she trusts, for me to be comfortable and vulnerable with. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like, how come you're vulnerable with your the 27-year-old blonde girl at work? How come you're gonna go talk to her after the issue? You know what I mean?
That's good.
Charles, I don't know why Charles is laughing on that, but yeah.
No, that's good, because I reckon there's some good advice for our men out there, because they don't usually hear this type of stuff. So it's good, man. And in terms of, because I think you brought up a good support system and your wife. Tell us about your guys' dynamic and how you guys operate. Not too much details, but in terms of like bringing out the best in you, and and being the best Viks.
Nah, man, I don't want to go on too much about my wife, because I know sometimes I can blab on about it, but man, I'm blessed, bro. I'm blessed in the space. Like I truly got to marry my best mate, and I believe I got a pretty phenomenal marriage. Like touch wood, and I feel like we're opposite in a lot of stuff. man, I love causing drama with her. I love annoying her. Man, when I watch some of Charles' videos, like, that's me. Like, I'm the throwing comments, throwing shade, annoying her, getting her angry. And she's the total opposite, man. She will apologize if she knows that I'm doing the wrong thing, and just to get me to shut up, you know. Yeah, I think a lot of that's come over from hanging in there and, you know, writing out times when, you know, things went great, and the ability to actually evolve within our marriage. I found that, you know, the way that we operate now, probably different from when we first got married, and you know, the importance of really understanding what it means when you say through the good times and the bad times, you know, being able to just stay the course of the marriage. And yeah, I'm really blessed with a supportive wife, and I guess for me, a lot of that's built off the back of, you know, the environment she was brought up in, and her family, and her mum and dad and her sisters in that. And man, I'm one of 4 boys and she's one of 4 girls. So, you know, like we're blessed in that sense that, man, I love my brother's wives in that, and I'm blessed to have like cool sisters, man. So, you know, for me, that whole dynamic is, I'm pretty lucky in that space.
Wow. Man. And God's blessed you with 3 daughters, bro. These daughters must keep you on your toes, Zeus.
I know, man. I only got brothers, and my brothers have only got boys, man. I'm the only one with girls. So, yeah, my dad loves it. Like, my dad's never had any daughters. So, like, his granddaughters, yeah, they're pretty special to him. But, yeah, I don't know. Oh, man, I didn't care what I had. Like, to be honest, I wasn't like asking for a boy or girl. Like, every single child that came out, we didn't wait for. You know, we didn't do any reveal party or anything. Yeah, once we found out we had a girl, once the girl came, I was just grateful. You know, I wasn't thinking like if I want a boy or that. Like I literally grew up with just all boys. Like, my family is all boys, so yeah, having girls is pretty cool.
Was it tough? Was it tough being, you know, in terms of parenting with your daughters, or once they hit the teenage years?
Oh man, I can do a whole podcasting on kids and parenting, man. Like, to be honest, it is my favorite thing to talk about. Like, I just love the whole dynamic of parenting and talking to people about their whole, you know, their views on stuff. Not that I'm like, this is how you should do it. I just love hearing like how people have like dealt with stuff. Man, I'm real tight with Joe Malaval, and he had his daughter Praise, you know, before a lot of us. And man, I remember taking a lot of advice from Joe and his wife. Maybe the best piece of advice they told us was never ever disagree in front of your children, and that's something me and my wife have used our whole life. Like, my kids know if mum says no, there's no chance of asking dad's going to say no, because my answer will always be, well, what did mum say? My kids know, like, that's the team. Like, mum and dad are the team. We're the opposition here, you know, almost, you know. But for me, yeah, I've just tried to probably, like all of us, take all the good stuff that I felt my parents did with us, and then all the stuff that I wasn't really happy with, and yeah, and try and mesh that together and find out, you know, what I think works and what I can use this day and age. And man, we're dealing with different stuff. I don't know how my parents would have dealt with social media or stuff, but yeah, man, like, it's just a totally different environment, man. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how we've dealt with it, but I got girls as well. So, man, I'm used to growing up and like, bro, let's have a fusu and it's over. Yeah. Where like in this house is like, I hear something like, oh, you remember 2 weeks ago when you touched that? That's why you can't do that. And I'm like, what the heck? 2 weeks ago? I'm not. Boys aren't even thinking like that, man.
That's mean. At least I know now I'm gonna give you a buzz for some advice, bro. I love watching your Instagrams and just you guys. It looks like you guys designate family time, and
yeah,
and it's cool. It looks like you guys
we have a meeting once a week, man.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, once a week we have a family meeting. Everyone, like in order of our age, everyone has to host a meeting. So yeah, at our family meeting every week, you have to open up with prayer. Then we have an opportunity for everyone to go around and say what's happened in the last week, what they've enjoyed, congratulate people, whatever. and then we have an open discussion where you can bring up anything. So like, and then the rules in our open discussion is you can't get angry. So if someone brings up stuff like, I'm sick of you doing this, you have to just be like, oh, okay then. So, but it's my wife's favorite time to actually go, how many times do I have to tell you to do this or that? So like for me, it's good for two things. It's good for us to actually hear stuff, but also it's good for my kids to learn to speak and know that like in this space you can say something. And yeah, the amount of times we've brought up stuff and, you know, people have brought up stuff that they probably wouldn't have brought up, like, you know, like your kids might say like, I'm actually getting bullied at school, or yeah, I haven't been feeling happy lately. For me, yeah, again, it's just about creating space for them to grow. Yeah. But I love it, bro. So it's crack up again. Like I was saying about causing trouble. Oh, that's what I love to. When I know someone does something, I go, I just want to ask who left the towels on the door, and then my wife goes, "Oh, that reminds me. Yeah.
Oh, that's good, bro. I'm gonna take note of that. I'm gonna use it.
Well, you'll probably be the one getting in trouble though.
So like, I'm gonna get in trouble all the time. But it might be a good time to not get angry at what I'm gonna get in trouble for.
Yes, I like it. That's what you gotta say. No repercussions.
No repercussions. Probably. Oh my gosh, gotta prepare myself for that thing. That's cool. Sure, bro. We got some of your background in your work. We even got some parenting advice. I know you're more than a league player, you're more than an ex-NRL player, and you're more than the work you do. What are some of the stuff that really excites you outside of that space?
Man, I love all my daughters play netball, so I said I don't wish I had boys, but I thought it would have been nice to go watch some footy games. But man, I spend all my time at netball, yeah. So like, and I'm the parent that sits at the back in the corner, and my wife is the one that sits there and coaches from the sideline. I'm just like, oh. So I did civil for at netball, so yeah, man, I love like I love going to watch my kids play netball and support them. And then yeah, I'm in a ministry at church called Phase 2 Young Adults. Yeah, and I love the ministry stuff. I love the age group. Yeah, it's stuff that I enjoy doing, and trying to get into doing a bit more speaking at church and that as well. So yeah, that's me. I wouldn't say that excites me, that scares me, but yeah, just trying to walk into what I'm supposed to be doing.
Hey,
cool, man. That's so cool. So when you're thinking, Vic, so you're thinking more like getting into the ministry, like pastoral kind of.
Reverend Weeks.
Nah, not pastoral care. Like I'm happy to speak and that. Yeah, I feel like I do feel like there's a calling on preaching a bit more, being able to speak. So yeah, we got like a service coming up in 3 weeks. So yeah, with the young adults and our youth and that. So I'm speaking on behalf of that ministry. So just stuff like that. Yeah, man. Like even it's one of those ones. It's like when someone says, I'm going to do a 6-week challenge, and you go, yeah, maybe, but when you actually say it, and you're like, oh, damn, I put it out there. That's like me with a lot of stuff. I was like, oh, fuck, I talked about it. Like even now, just talking to you about it, I'm like, I'm getting hot and flustered thinking about like I've got to speak, but yeah.
So I've always get good feedback around your speaking, and you're quite a powerful preacher. So it's awesome, Moose. Just like David from the Bible, a man after his own heart. So continue to walk around with your slingshot and shoot your shot. Hey!
Yeah, these guys always talking about shooting a shot, man. Amen, Brother Charles.
Well, tell us that, Vico, because obviously your faith is a real big part of who you are, and so like in terms of like manhood, what really is it like? Where did it start from? Was it just drilled and instilled in you at home with local and church, or was it just you gradually found you gravitated to, or you felt like the Holy Spirit kind of led you Yeah, tell us a little bit more about your faith journey as well, Uzo.
Yeah, I feel like for me, I grew up in a church called PSC Newton, so I'm a PSC boy. Yeah, Newton boy. I was always that dude that loved church, like loved hanging out at church. The truth is, like, I grew up in a real strict house. Like, my dad is one of 12, and he's the oldest, and my mum is like one of 11, and she's like the second oldest, but acts like she's the oldest. So my parents were like, my house was the house you were sent to if you're in trouble. So if you were naughty, like in the holidays, you'd come stay at my house. So my parents were pretty strict, but the one place my parents allowed us to go without any question, without any arguments, was the church if we had church stuff. So, man, for me, it was like, oh, if I can spend all my time at church, then I'll do that, you know? So, and I had some really, really good friends and family at church that I loved hanging out with, man. So, you know, my whole life, growing up in church, and it's quite a traditional church, the PRC church, but we had a Bible class, and, you know, there's a lot more almost like that Baptist kind of church. And yeah, I was really lucky to do a lot of people within that space that helped nurture me in regards to my faith in that. And yeah, I always gravitated towards, you know, being a Christian and feeling comfortable in that space. And yeah, from an early age, I made a decision to, you know, become a Christian and try and do that. But man, you know, my journey's been a journey of a lot of ups and downs, and in church and out of church, and you know, hasn't always been, you know, I haven't always been the greatest example of what a Christian should be. But you know, I know that I've been really fortunate, man. I always think that I'm fortunate to just be here right now in 2021 talking to you and to be alive. And you know, I think of a lot of my family and friends that were taken unexpectedly at different stages of their life, and to think that, you know, for me to be where I am now and to have this relationship with God, I'm really, man, I'm super grateful for it. Yeah.
That's so cool. That's so cool. So, wow, and it speaks volumes. Vika, you know, it does when you're speaking. Everything seems like it's just coming from your faith and your belief in the Father. And so it's cool, man. Just an incredible journey also. I just feel like we didn't have to say much. You just kind of shared it and just kind of flowed, and like, oh man, because we had this, you know, because I had some questions lined up. I was like, oh no, you just kind of answered a lot of the questions. And it's so cool, Vika, that you just kind of share from the heart, and you and also your experiences. But in terms of men, and the men today, Vika, what do you think in terms of, and more so like our poly brothers, what do you think stops us from pushing through and being, you know, stepping up to the plate, also, so to speak? What do you think some of the things that kind of stops us from, or barriers that stop us from achieving our goals or getting out there and doing things that we may have desire to do? What do you think are the things that hold us as or bring us down as men?
Man, for me, I get some of it probably gets back to what we were talking about before. The ability to feel comfortable, to be vulnerable, and to actually let your guard down, I think is any Pacific Island man, you know, your dad or your mum or whoever raised you said to you, you know, like, you are to be the leader of your family, and you need to be malosi, and, you know, when things, you're the one that needs to be there. And I can imagine how many times my dad probably wanted to break down and cry at home. My mum had 3 jobs at one time, like work 11 to 7, then go work in a rest home from look after another couple from 10 till 2, and then work in a bar and a thing from 2 o'clock until 6 o'clock, and then come home, cook dinner, and then go to sleep and go to work, and did that for like 15 years, you know. I just think of being around that environment for a lot of us men, and not being able to actually say that I'm struggling, or not feeling comfortable to say, you know, I need help. I think that's something that we probably don't do well enough. I pray for this next generation to actually feel comfortable to do that. I don't look at it like we're building a next generation of soft dudes who are, cuddling each other. Like, man, I think of the relationship between people like David and Jonathan and the love that they had for each other, man, the support they had, the ability to cheer and support, someone that they had this affection for. For me, I look at that like a love that I have for my friends here. And, when I think about, man, I lived in England for 10 years and I only hung out with Islanders. I felt comfortable, we're so used to being around each other. We're so used to, man, we're so comfortable. Like, we got jokes only we know. We are one words that a word that we'll say that everyone just like, fuck this dude, But to have that, and then to have the ability to actually feel comfortable to be yourself and be authentic around your boys. For me, I feel like that's where I know that my relationship with my schoolmates has gotten to a better place where we actually, like, I can actually be myself. I don't need to be like that dude at school that I was like trying to be the mocker dude so everyone can laugh. Like, I can actually go into that space and say to them, bro, I'm struggling, boys. And they can be like, you're good, man. I hear you. I think for our men, for our poly men, if we can create more space where we can create more forums like this, like, man, if one dude sitting there thinking like, frick, that's me. Like, bro, I'm struggling and I don't feel like I got anyone to talk to. And maybe I might talk to my mate or maybe I'll talk to my brother. I think like if we can start doing things like that and creating more space for people to do that, like it breaks my heart to see dudes, do stuff to themselves when they're struggling, or to hear stories of guys who've broken down. I shared a video on Instagram today of like a dude who did a challenge for men's mental health, and he rode on a rock and Kangaroo Point here, and he did a 12-hour run, and he rode on the rock of people who took their lives. And by the end of it, there was like, man, heaps of people had come and joined, and there was, I don't know, 30, 40 names on that rock. People who come to jump in, and they were like, man, I'm doing it for this person. I'm doing it. Man, there's just way too many of our people, way too many of our men doing that. Like, it's heartbreaking, man. It's heartbreaking to know guys are sitting in their house right now, like struggling alone. Like, if we can create space for them to be like, man, I want to talk. I need someone to talk to. I think that we'll be able to make better decisions as men, more strides forward if we can actually make people feel comfortable to talk.
Wow. Thanks for that, bro. While we're still on this topic, because there's a lot of onus on men to reach out. And sometimes when you're in your darkest places, it is hard to reach out. It's like you don't want to hear from nobody, even when you got people trying to check on you. So you got encouragement for those who are in a space or in a position of support? Do you have any advice for someone that's in a position of support, like trying to be there for someone that's going through a dark place? Because like when you try to reach out to them and the person's going through their darkest moments, they're like pissed off, and then straight away you're like, okay, I respect that, but yes. Well, what's your encouragement for our guys out there?
Yeah, man. Kind of goes back to what I was saying before, like how being a Christian's help. Man, I think that if you can have genuine intentions of supporting people, they will see that. You know what I mean? And if you have genuine intentions of supporting people, man, you won't worry about being brushed. Like, it's normal. Like, man, honestly, I went to go meet with someone yesterday, and I was telling my wife this, not yesterday, on Monday, and like got to like, I was supposed to meet him at 10, and then at like 10:40, he texted me and said, "Oh, sorry, I forgot." And that's just what happens in this place. And but I'm so used to it with footy boys, man. You know, like I get brushed all the time. But like, I just know that if my genuine intention is just to help, I'm not getting angry at it. It's just like, oh, so good. Like, and then, but I'll just meet up with you another time. And I feel like if you can have that as your starting point for trying to support someone, then yeah, regardless of what happens, you'll be fine with that. yeah, and I feel like if your intention really is to help and to love on someone, then really have that heart for that, and don't feel discouraged if they don't want to talk. I feel like people generally come back to the person who's more genuine anyway, and they'll be like, man, I'll remember that.
That's powerful.
Yeah.
That's good. Sometimes because we can take it personal and be like, oh, yep, that's it. Yeah. You didn't come at this time that I try to reach out to you. And then it's like, yeah, you're creating your own barriers and you miss those opportunities. That's cool, bro. Intention and consistency.
Cool.
Sole also, I'm mindful of your time, and I know you got to go to your training and stuff. Eh?
Like, I'm still on the podcast.
But yeah, I'd love to have you back on and really just sort of just do a series on fatherhood or parenting, and just get a number of different men and just zone in on that area. But just really grateful for some of the pearls of wisdom that you've shared us. But yeah, one of the questions I want to ask before, unless Pete's got something he wants to, like, is there a phrase or a sentence or maybe just a few words that you really wanted to impart to our viewers? What would it be?
It was funny. I was talking to my wife last week, and something just came in a verse came in my head, and I shared it with my wife's family on our group chat. And it was 2 Timothy 1:7, you know, like, for he has not given us a spirit of timidness or fear, you know, but of power and of love. Man, I just feel like the climate of the world at the moment is of fear. You know, like either people are scared or making other people scared. Yeah, my encouragement is like, man, if that's what you're feeling, that's not of God, you know. Understand that God is about love and giving you power. And, you know, my encouragement for if anyone's watching there is like, if that fear is come from mental health, if it's come from COVID, if it's come from your job or that, understand that you know, the overarching matter that we want to let you know is that God's not giving you that. You know, He's given you a strength to overcome that. So, yeah, for me, that was an encouragement that I sent with my wife's family last week. And it's, I say that, but it's actually my screensaver on my phone, that Bible verse. Yeah, and it's something that I've had on here since I had my own little breakdown, because it was something that I needed to constantly remind myself, like, man, this worry about what I'm going through, man, it's not of God. This, you know, this is something that's trying to actually distract me from what I know is important. Yeah.
That's powerful. And as you're sharing, I thought of a quote from another pastor that said that a frightened world needs a fearless church, or needs a fearless people. And as you shared that scripture, I was like, yep, it's time for us to really sort of be filled with that power that's been given to us. And when we look at Poly Brothers, man, what
I'm writing that down, man. I'm writing that down.
Goodness.
Good, man.
That's so cool, man.
We need more warriors, eh?
We need more raiders. We need more raiders. Oops.
Are you working with the Raiders right now?
No.
That's your team.
That's my team, though.
Maneka days.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, after last year, after Warriors, that was it for me, man.
Me too, bro.
So next year's our year. I have a feeling.
That's tomorrow.
This is our year. That's cool.
Yeah.
Pete, did you have?
No, I just want to say thank you, Vix. Thank you so much for the talano. So much gold nuggets. I just love your freedom in your heart, just to share and freely share, instead of, I think sometimes you kind of, as men, we kind of test the waters. You think, oh, I'll say something, see the person's reaction. But no, bro, I just felt like in terms of your spirit and your character, you just felt there's a sense of real freedom. Also, real freedom just to share and not even worry about what people think. And I love that. I think a lot of men need to have that vulnerability, but also, like you're saying, just not even care what people think. And it all, like you're saying, it all kind of stems from the identity, knowing who you are. I really believe what you're saying. You know who you are, it doesn't really matter what people think or say about you, because you know who you are. You're grounded, but more so you're grounded in your faith. And so it's just been a real privilege also, just to hear your journey. Yeah, awesome. Too much. Yeah, but thank you so much, bro. Thank you so much.
Yeah, and before we wrap it up, I just want to honor you tools in the space that you work in. We need some strong pillars like you that help navigate and guide our young boys coming through. And I know that the pressure of being the superstar or being, I guess, more than being trying to live up to this expectation of being a league player in the public eye, and I love that you that doesn't define you. That is what you did. That's not who you are. And I just want to honor you in the work that you do, but also the work that you do for the kingdom, and just where God's going to take you. I pray for more opportunities, that He opens more platforms for you to speak, because we need your voice, especially at a time like this where everything is chaotic. There's so much. We got Christians turning on Christians, you got people turning on people, you got the vaccinated turning on the unvaccinated, and so there's so having a spearhead like you, so just keep on doing what you're doing. And I just appreciate you. My younger brother, he's one that really keeps a circle tight knit, and you're one of those guys that really he holds dear to. And I love your guys' relationship, because even though you're this ex-player, he never shares anything. So, and he just sees you as one of his brothers. So appreciate you also.
Man, appreciate it, man. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to come on there and speak and share. And man, I love what you're doing, man. Like this is needed, man. Needed for our boys. Yeah.
Thanks, Vix. So, Vix, we usually after our guests, when we finish, we always do a bit of a sketch as to why I'm always looking down and just jotting down what you said and just recapping what your words of you shared this evening also. So I did a bit of a sketch of you, kind of like a caricature of you, back in the playing it with pretty kind of like modern, but more so with the jerseys that you're playing, because I was a big fan of the Eagles back in the days when you were playing. It's a caricature of you also back in the days. So yeah, bro.
Ooh, so
this is for use. For use, yeah. And so we'll send it over to you. So
hold on to it, man. Hopefully I'll be home soon.
Oh, you will. Oh, yeah, cool.
I don't know, man. Hopefully, so just send it to open up the borders for me.
Yeah, hard up.
But if not, also depending on how things go with the borders, but Charles and I will send it over to you also, and just as a mere lofa, thank you so much for tonight. We really appreciate it also. So bless you, man. And but also, is there anyone that you could think of? Do you want to call out? Who would be beneficial to be on the show?
Could be anyone.
Man, there's the usual suspects, but man, I think Paul Fatuida. I don't know if you know Paulie Fats, but man, I can ask my man Paulie Fats if he'd be keen. He does some stuff in the space, but man, got a gangster story, background story, and the ability to come from where he's come from. I think a lot of people can relate to that, and to actually, get to the pinnacle of his sport. And the work he's doing now, it'd be awesome, man.
Wow,
awesome, man. Awesome, man. If he's watching this, maybe it would be a bit of a call.
Yeah, man. Let me ask him. Yeah, let me ask him.
Oh, thanks. Thank you so much, also, man. But it's also always Jose, we always give out the last word to our guests. So also, last word to you.
I just want to say thank you for the opportunity to come on here and speak tonight. I love the fact that we're actually talking about, issues that we didn't grow up talking about as men, like as Pacific Island men as well. My encouragement is just if there's anyone out there tonight that's today that's watching this online or wherever, and if you are feeling down, the importance of being able to reach out to someone, or if you're someone that's worried about someone else, to actually do that as well. I'm just a lover of people here. I just feel like this is such a cool space. I love the fact that this is done by you guys, and with our men in mind and our people in mind as well. So congrats and thanks, boys.
Cool. So we're gonna give you the final 4 words, Us. Men.
Is it refine, unlock, and take charge? So
Mandate.